All right, well, I'd like to thank Tyler Gibson for joining us on the show. Tyler, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on.
No problem, no problem. Now, I don't know if everybody out there knows it or not, but you are actually playing for an NASL team right now. You've just moved to San Francisco. You're playing for the San Francisco Deltas. How are you liking it out in San Francisco?
I'm loving it so far. I've been here for a week exactly, and started training this past week. And the city's great. The team is very professional. Everything's set up really nicely out here. Take care of us very well, and the training sessions have been run very professionally. And yeah, I'm enjoying it a lot. The coaches are great. The staff is great. Everything is going well so far. So just looking for to keep going throughout preseason and looking to get started with the season.
Nice. Well, listen, I'm going to take just a minute. Everybody out there may not realize that while you're playing professional soccer now, you came from Knoxville, and you grew up playing soccer in Knoxville. Why don't you tell me a little bit about kind of who you played for and where you played growing up here in Knoxville?
All right. I think I started out. I actually remember my very first game. It was about when I was 4 years old. I think KYS league, and I was actually sick on our first game ever, and my dad was just like, "Let's just go get your jersey, and then we'll come home." But then when I got there, I got the jersey. Then I decided to play, and then when I came home, my mom wasn't too happy because then I felt terrible. So that's always a funny story that we talk about around our house. But yeah, I grew up in the KYS league, and then moving forward, joined a club called the Enforcers under Rick Reagan, and then from there joined the Knoxville Football Club Crush. I was part of one of the first teams in the club, and yeah, ever since grew up playing for the Crush and for Crush Liverpool, and we had a good team, and yeah, it was good. Growing up, we didn't start really. I guess we won our first state championship, and the very first year you could win and move on to regionals. And then every year after that, we won them all. So won 5 or 6 state championships with them, and yeah, we kept getting players from around the state come to our team, and we eventually got up to ranked 8th in the nation. And yeah, we had a very good team. Several of my teammates went on to play college and then even professionally, like Luke Mishu and Mark Sherrod, and then I also played growing up with Aaron Schoenfeld, who's playing over in Israel right now.
Yeah, that's actually quite a talent pool there. No wonder you guys won so many state championships. Now, you played here in Knoxville for Catholic High School.
Yes.
And then you went on from Catholic and you went to UNC Charlotte.
Yes.
And I believe you were a starter all 4 years there at Charlotte, weren't you?
Yeah. So going into Charlotte, I actually redshirted my first year. Had a little bit of injury stuff my first year, and they already had some players in my position who were older, so decided to redshirt that year. And then ever since that, then that helped me acclimate more and grow and get used to the speed of play there. And then from then I played my 4 years, started about every game that I was healthy, and in 2011 we made it to the national championship. Fortunately lost in the national championship, but that was a great experience, and won the conference championship and my final season. And yeah, so I had a great career, and I absolutely loved Charlotte, the city, and the school and everything, the coaches, were great, and I've been blessed with a bunch of great coaches throughout my career. I know Mike McDonald was probably one of the most influential coaches in my time growing up with development and everything. He's coaching at Knoxville Christian Berean High School, and he taught me so much. And then I was blessed with so many other coaches, Scott Muir, John Craven, and then my college coaches and high school coaches were top class. So been pretty lucky, and it's definitely helped my development.
Yeah, you definitely, the list of coaches you've named off there are is an impressive list of coaches to have grown up playing for, and it paid off. You actually were a 4-time All-Atlantic 10 Conference first team selection. So between the coaching and the redshirt year to catch up with your health and the speed of things, it obviously paid off because you had a fantastic 4 years there at UNC Charlotte. From there, you signed as a rookie with in the NASL, correct?
Yeah. So after college, I went on to the MLS Combine and draft, but didn't get drafted. And then from there, I went over to Germany. Was doing some trials with some third league teams over there. I was over there for about 8 months or so doing that, and then I came back after that and signed with San Antonio Scorpions for my rookie season. I had a great season there. Started 23 games under Alan Marcina, and then from there he moved on to the new NASL team Rayo OKC, and went with him there. So I played in Oklahoma City last year, and then this year now I'm in San Francisco.
So how did you end up going from Oklahoma City to San Francisco?
Just so the coach here, Mark DeSantos, is a very good coach. I'm very happy to be playing for him. I mean, I played against him. He coached at Ottawa when I was in San Antonio, and I mean, he saw me and knew me and has been keeping tabs, and then he reached out this off season, and things kind of went from there.
So in the NASL, do you have multi-year contracts? Are you kind of year to year? Does it depend on the situation in the player? How does that work with that league?
Yeah, no, I mean, you have multi-year contracts or you may not. It just depends completely on your deal and negotiations and everything. I actually had a 2-year contract with Rayo OKC, but with the problems with the owners and everything, then things went down, and now they're no longer a team. So we're still sorting out all that stuff. But
sure.
But yeah, so it just kind of folded, and so then I guess yeah.
So how did you feel kind of in this past off season when U.S. Soccer was trying to determine kind of the division status of the NASL and the USL, being a member of that league, having what happened in Oklahoma City, were you paying attention closely to see what they were going to decide about, the division status of the NASL? Because there were some questions there for a little while.
Yeah, no, a lot of my teammates, I mean, that's why a lot of us didn't sign until late, because, I mean, some of the teams didn't know what they were going to do, what league they were going to play in, because it depended on what happened with the league and everything. Because some teams were going to maybe go to the USL or something else was going to happen. So we were kind of waiting to see what happened with the NASL and just the league statuses and everything. But then once they came out with that, then we were able to make some decisions.
Excellent. It looks like it's a really solid league at this point. It's it's a smaller league at this point because there were some teams that were struggling, but it looks to be a really quality league in that kind of Division II status right now. So it looks like there'll be some good soccer played this year there. How does the reality of being a professional athlete compare to kind of growing up as a kid, what you thought it would be like to be a professional athlete?
I mean, it's awesome. I love it. It's almost everything that I can imagine. I mean, you just literally live and play it. Play the sport that you love for a living. So I mean, you wake up, go to training, and then depending on how your body feels and everything, then you either do some other things for it, recovery wise or treatment wise, or just always taking care of your body, ready for the next day, because it's every day you got to be able to push 100%. So it's a great environment to be in. I love it. You have guys from all over the world playing, and so you get to meet some awesome people. And it's crazy how small the soccer world is, actually, even though it's worldwide. You play with players who have played with some of the best in the world. I've played with players that have played with Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi and all those big names. So it's a small community, but it's great to hear everybody's story and the different connections you make with people and friendships and stuff. So it's pretty awesome. It's almost better than what I expected it to be.
Well, for in an area like East Tennessee, where we're not used to hearing about, we hear a lot of football players around here that go on to be professionals, but we're not used to hearing about a lot of soccer players, that go on and achieve the level that you and some of the guys that you played with have achieved. If there's a young player out there, a guy or a girl, that they're aspiring to make it to the level that you've made it to, what would you tell them? What kind of advice would you give them?
I mean, for me, it's everybody has their own path that they go on. Like, take for example all the guys that I mentioned earlier. Some guys go from college and get drafted straight away into the MLS, and then some guys don't get drafted and then find a different path. It's not always easy, and sometimes you don't even go to college, So that's it's all about like what you want out of it. It's how bad do you really want it? It's what are you willing to do for it and give up and sacrifice for it, and because it's not always easy. I can tell you it's a grind sometimes, and I've been on plenty of trials, over 12, and most of them said no at the point, because at this level it's not necessarily that you're not good enough. It comes down to timing and what positions they need and the budget they have, and there's so many factors that go into it. So it's a grind, and you gotta sometimes get lucky with the timing and everything. So it's there's plenty of ways. There's not just one way. Where, as I kind of feel in American football, there's only a certain couple of ways to get on a roster. But with soccer, it's worldwide. So like everybody has their own story. I have so many friends that have crazy stories how they got where they are, and just it's awesome. And it's if you really want it, then go after it, and because a lot of people say, oh, if you get to this age you can't play anymore, or nobody's looking, and all of that. I've heard it all, but I've seen so many different stories of people that have gone on to show those things wrong. And yeah, it's exciting, and it's an adventure, and it a lot of times it pays off if you just go for it.
Oh, that's great. That's great advice. So, and I've enjoyed hearing your story, and I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day and kind of talking with us about your journey. And I know it'll probably encourage a lot of players out there, and I know too that people just enjoy hearing success stories. So, Tyler, thanks for taking a few minutes out of your day and spending some time with us here at the Knoxville Soccer Show.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on, and look forward to seeing how soccer in Knoxville and all in Tennessee just continues to develop.
Yeah, well, because of guys like you, it certainly will. It certainly will. So we'll catch up with you here in the future, and thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.